My name is Martin Adam, and that is Sari Räthel. Today we have our first Design Dialogues podcast, and we are streaming it from the Media Design University. While we are doing this, we want to show our students actually what kind of careers someone who has done a design studies in different fields can reach in life. And this is also meant to be an inspiration for the students and to see where their ways could go in later life. So welcome today, Sari, to you. You are from a very special design label. It's a special jewelry brand. And of course, I had a look beforehand. And on your homepage, you say that you call yourself a responsible jewelry brand between London and Berlin. And I think that alone is already quite interesting to know how it all started. Maybe you can give us some impression about this.
First, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I mean, we basically started our brand, I would say 2017. I graduated from the Royal College of Art in London 2016.
Great.
And but way before that, Ricarda and I met 15 years ago on our undergraduate studies, actually in Strasbourg. So our friendship goes really way back, and I think that's also what makes our day-to-day work really special, that the main thing is our friendship and actually a sisterhood which really bonds us, and obviously the shared vision of bringing something new to the jewelry field. And it all sparked because when I graduated at the RCA in 2016, I won several awards with my degree collection, and then there was quite a lot of momentum around my work. And Ricarda, in the meantime, was a jewelry designer at COS. And so she really had a lot of industry insights, and we have been working beforehand for jewelry designer in London. He's called Scott Wilson. So after I graduated in Ida Oberstein for my undergraduate, I went to London to work for him, and Ricarda was in Düsseldorf and then also went to work for him. So we had already this shared experience of working for someone really working in the fashion industry. And then we really loved that. We really loved the vibe of London, the energy, and also really having that insight into the fashion industry and how jewelry can be within fashion and not just in that jewelry bubble. And and through my master's, I think it really opened up also my horizon of what jewelry can be and the context of jewelry and the body and the object to really like dive into it in an academic way. And then Ricarda brought that industry knowledge, and then together we founded the brand 2017.
So did I understand this right? So first of all, you both did your undergraduate, and then you went first to work, and you actually met in London, and you did your master's in London?
So Ricarda and I met in France.
Yes.
On Erasmus. Yeah. So that was our undergraduate Erasmus semester. Whilst she was in Düsseldorf and I was in Ida Oberstein.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so maybe I wasn't super clear in the streamline. But then she didn't do an MA, actually. She went straight into the industry. Yes. But we both, before she worked at COS, worked for jewelry design in London. So we didn't meet in London, actually. We both went there. So actually our life paths were very parallel for the last 15 years. Yeah.
But what I think what is very interesting is the bond actually between the two of you. Could you maybe also say something about what makes Ricarda in a certain way special and what makes you special, and if that actually also, what is it reflects into what you do in the journey?
Yeah, I think, we both design together, so the design process is very much a collaboration. And then in our day-to-day, I think I would say I'm more the person taking care of sales and communication and those more outwards facing
That's why you are sitting today.
And then Ricarda is really also keeping it all together in the background. She's really structured. But yeah, she's also a designer. So when we work together, it's very much hand in hand, and you can never really say one piece is designed by one person and the other piece is designed by the other person. It's very much a collaboration of bouncing back and forth, and then the other day-to-day operational tasks are quite split, actually.
Yeah. When I had a look at your collections, I also found out that there's a term that you call non-invasive.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
So when we design, we always design straight on the body. So our backgrounds are both in jewelry, so we have a really deep material understanding. So both of us really understand the metal, but also gemstones. I study gemstone design as well. So for us, the haptic, like the tactility of the material is really important. And therefore, for me, the body is like really the most exciting part. I also love touching people. So for me, it's actually really nice to shape things directly on the body. And then when you work in that way, you automatically find different ways of attaching jewelry to the body rather than just like adding a pin on the back and then calling it an earring. Sure. So for us, the most exciting part is working really sculptural and really working with the volumes around the body and the silhouettes. And that also, I think, brings a new design perspective than what you normally used to in jewelry, if it's just like a necklace with a pin on.
And that also sounds like as if you create actually uniques then, so unique pieces. So maybe you can describe it a little bit better also for me to understand, and also, of course, for the audience. You are talking about like also like touching the human bodies when you design the jewelry. Does it really mean that you kind of go to the person and you kind of, when they want to have earrings, that you feel what the shape of the ear is, and then you think, okay, it could be then this and this material that we would use? How do you do that?
I think it's more between us as a team, like less with the customers. So for us, it's as a team, we design really on each other's ears. We also have very different ears and very different bodies. So we have a nice range of shapes in the studio. And then, so the process is very much, we use the metal and really bend it around the body. So we don't draw in 2D at all, actually. And then once the shape is perfect and fits a bigger range of shapes of ears or hands or necks or feet, wherever we want, where we're designing, and then the item, so we sample in-house, as you can tell, which is also really special, like not a lot of people do that. And then the sample, from that we make a 3D drawing, and then that gets translated into, will be casted, printed, casted, and then multiplied. So it's not unique pieces as such. They're unique in the way they're designed, but then still like multiples.
Yes, understand. All right, thank you for that. And then you also talk about gender fluidity. What exactly is the meaning behind that in your collection?
So when I graduated at the RCA, my degree collection was very much about how jewelry can enhance certain parts of the body, how can it enhance certain parts of your femininity or masculinity. And I thought it was quite an interesting time when suddenly jewelry for men really was on the rise. And I really tried to understand why, and also historically, actually, men were the one adorning themselves, and it's also only since the French Revolution that it's women and men have abandoned all the jewelry. And currently, I think is a really exciting time because you can really tell like men are wearing a lot more jewelry. And for us, it really wasn't so much about being male or female or anything like that. It's really about the body, and it's really about the style. And so it doesn't really matter what gender you are. Our jewelry is really just to fit certain bodies or certain styles. And actually a lot of people who wear our jewelry never wear jewelry before, because a lot of our customers always say, I don't really like what's out there, and they don't feel like that it has that special connection to the body in a way. And so the moment they put our pieces on, they feel really special, and it enhances something. It enhances your posture. It enhances maybe the silhouette or the way it fits. For example, these rings, they fit under the nail, so it's a very intimate little gap of the body. And also lots of men wear these, especially in Japan, actually. So you would think it's a super feminine item, but it's not. Like, it looks really cool on just like a plain look, and then just that ring for a guy is also, a nice accessory. And I think therefore for us the gender question wasn't really there in a way. Yeah.
Well, that actually would have been also one of my next questions. Who's the typical wearer? But from what I hear is there is no typical wearer. But have you noticed, like, throughout the years, that a certain shape is also especially chosen by a certain type of person?
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe also a certain material?
I think material-wise, we're not that experimental, to be honest. We still work with sterling silver and 18-karat gold. It's like very traditional jewelry materials. And then gemstones, I think, is also very classic jewelry material. What's special about it is maybe the way we use gemstones. Shape-wise, I would say it really is more a question of style. But sometimes we design a piece which is like a dangly ear cuff, and the first time we designed it, we were like, oh, that's definitely a super girly piece. And then the first person who bought it was a guy. So, you also sometimes never really know how the audience responds. And so for me, it's quite exciting to just put the collection out there and then see who picks what. But while we design, we often think, is it a certain customer, or is that for another customer? But in the end, you never really know who's choosing it. Yeah.
So you're also talking of a dialogue between sensuality, materiality, and technology. So what I think, especially in times of AI, so where we are all confronted in our daily life with a kind of technology that is also very useful for us. What makes technology in your designs?
Yeah, I think that's in the general collection, we mainly use technology for production, I would say. But then additionally, we also did this R&W design, Räthel Wolf digital project, which is a whole separate project, or not separate, but it was a project we did 2023, sort of post-pandemic moments where we really felt like, okay, how can we do something which is very community-based, very democratizes jewelry in a way. And there we put our designs out there for free to download in 3D files. And it was an amazing response to see how other designers were actually interacting with it and using it for their own creations, for spatial designs, for campaigns, for avatars. And so in a way, that digital, there we really wanted to see, okay, how can we kind of do something which is not driven by capitalist ideas, but more really about how can it be really accessible for everyone. And it was really exciting to see what comes back and what you kind of can give back to the community, and how the dialogue really started through giving something out there to the world. Yeah.
And what came actually back? What came back? So what was your experience on that way actually to discover? Because I think this is a very it's not only interesting, it's great to hear, because that, of course, is also something that is taught at the university when we talk about open innovation. When firms actually share certain results out of research they may not need for themselves, but others could use, and something new could be born out of this cooperation of those informations. And now you're saying you gave this out for free, but you are exactly saying what many people underestimate, actually, that something also comes back from that. That would be very interesting to hear.
A lot of people were really scared in the beginning. We're like, why do you do that? You're giving out your designs for free. Like, that's crazy. Everyone can just copy you. And we were like, yeah, but I mean, they can copy us anyway. It happens all the time in fashion. It's really normal. And so we were like, it's much more exciting if we actually deliberately do it and offer it to people. And what we got back was like amazing imagery, lots of people reaching out to us, lots of people actually really wanting to buy the products in the end because they had worked with it. Some people have 3D printed the items at home to try them on. So instead of just buying something randomly, they could actually, of course, not everyone has a 3D printer at the moment. But for like thinking about the future, that's definitely an option. And so people don't have to for fashion, it's really problematic shipping things globally. And then you have returns. It's like really unsustainable. You can also really think about it in a sustainability angle and see how people can really make use of the files for free. And then in the end, they really want to have the original product anyway, because they believe in what you do.
That is also a great thought you just mentioned. Maybe in the future, like a 3D printer would be as normal as our paper printer now is at home. So, and your jewelry actually could also be downloaded and printed directly.
That's what people did.
Exactly. They did for real.
That's what people did, but obviously people who have a 3D printer at the moment are people who are working with it. You don't just have it at home. But for the future, it could be something people have at home.
And that is very sustainable. And I know also that this is a very important topic for you, because that's why you also call yourself a responsible jewelry brand. So so did the idea actually of that responsibility came out of that experience, or was it there before already?
It was there before. Like, we've always produced locally, and for us it was always important that the supply chain, we really understand where the pieces come from, that it's recycled silver, and that it's actually, during COVID, it was fantastic that we had our production in Germany because we had no issues with shipping. And so it was really a moment where we were like, it also has other benefits than just for the planet. It's actually really nice to work so directly with people, and we know all the people who make the jewelry, it's a family business, so we go there. And it's like, I think in jewelry it's nice because the supply chain is so short, it's really clear. It's like you have the metal, it's being cast, it's being polished and cleaned, and then we pack it. So it's very short. And in a lot of other parts of the fashion industry, it can get quite complicated with millions of components. And so I think we're quite lucky to have quite a short supply chain in that sense.
I would like to mention at this point, because maybe we should also give our audience that actually comes online to us, that they also have a possibility actually to ask questions in the chat. So if you have questions, just post them in the chat, and we will continue with our interview. And maybe if there are questions, you can just reach them over to us. And another question I would have, I found out that you also have a strong bond to local craftsmen you cooperate with. So what is actually the exact meaning behind it, that you choose. I mean, I heard also that you yourself also have that ability actually to do it, but you still cooperate also with others.
Yeah.
How does that come?
I mean, yeah, as you said, we have the skills ourselves, so we really value craft and the materiality. So a lot of bigger projects we also make ourselves. Like last year we did a collaboration and for Copenhagen Fashion Week for a Copenhagen-based brand where I handcrafted like a really big metal corset and nails out of sterling silver. Each of them was like hand hammered and so on. But then the people we work with, as I mentioned, our normal production is based in Pforzheim. That's a family business. So we're very close with them. We talk to them like very often. We visit them and we know them all. But personally, the stones, for example, we go to Ida Oberstein, which is this really small magical gemstone town in close to Trier in Germany. And there we go actually into the garages and the old gemstone workshops and really look for offcuts. And we meet the old gemstone carvers and so on, because it's a trade really dying in Europe, because it's all outsourced to Southeast Asia. And there we have a gemstone carver who I actually studied with back then. He's carving all our stones. So it's often, either people we have built a relationship with or people we already knew. And I think it's really nice for us to know everyone from a sustainability point of view, but also you can really rely on them. Yeah. So it's also really good to know.
I think it's also kind of, a true valuation, actually, also of the abilities of that, what is close to you, and what doesn't lie far away. And are you also already at the point to basically also say that through that or through those cooperations that you also find out that you kind of also keep a certain network, or that you also enable that there can be the creation or the keeping of certain people that do certain things, because you all build up a network of responsibility through this work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely agree that like employing someone who's a gemstone carver in Germany is definitely helping also to keep that industry going rather than shipping it across the globe to a random factory. So in a way, for sure, that really helps also keeping the craft alive.
Yes.
And collaboration-wise, I also think it's always very cross-fertilizing, cross-nurturing to work with people who are close to you. And I think we mainly collaborate with people who also have similar values and really enjoy also working together. Like when we did the collaboration with Philipp Brie for the clutch, like it was just so nice when he came to our studio. The first thing was he brought bunch of flowers and was like, for me, when I do a collaboration, the main importance is that we get on. And it's really it's exactly our spirit when we work with people. No matter if it's a design collaboration or collaboration concerning the production, like it's always important to us to have a good relationship with the people we work with.
Maybe you can hold up the clutch a little bit into the camera. Of course, you can also see it in the web. Wonderful.
Also a bracelet.
How long did it actually take to have that final design? Because I'm asking that actually also from a point of a designer. Because I know how long it takes actually sometimes to design a logo. So, and you are never, satisfied. So, but at a certain point you have to make a break. So it would be very interesting. How long did it take actually, and how many drafts did you have?
I think the initial idea was quite quickly there, because Philip approached us that he wanted to have a clutch. So, and then I think we had quite quickly that idea that we want to have it shaped to the body with that curve here, but also making it into a jewelry piece by turning it into also sort of a bracelet clutch. So these functions were sort of quite early there, but then I think we had 4 sampling rounds. Like I think we made one sample ourselves, just with our sewing machine at home. Actually, Ricarda did it, and I made the handle. And then I think maybe it was all maybe 3 rounds with Philip. So yeah, I can't really remember. But overall, the process was definitely a while, like I would say half a year to a year. I mean, in the end, it was because we're not working seasonal. It didn't have to come out a certain season. So then obviously if there's not like a specific deadline, things can sometimes take a little longer, but in the end we're loving it. So it's a great product. It was well.
That is also very important. You love your old product.
Yeah. Definitely. I always wear it all. Yeah, I mean, that was also why we started the brand, actually, was because there was nothing out there we really wanted to wear ourselves. And it's still, there's not much jewelry out there I would wear because it's either the style or it's not valuable enough. Like I wouldn't want to wear something out of brass, which, I don't know, you throw away next week or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us, I mean, it's quite interesting how we are still wearing pieces from our first collection. Like this ring, for example, was in our very first collection, and it still feels really relevant design-wise, or the rings around the nails. Of course, there's always been new versions of it, but for example, we had 2 weeks ago a request from FK Twigs to wear our rings for our ear cuffs for her tour. And you really think like that's such an avant-garde artist, and we designed this already like 7 years ago, and it's still super relevant. And I think that's what I really like about our collections, that they're not like seasonal and suddenly irrelevant after a year or something.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's nice to hear, actually, that they're timeless.
Yeah.
So, and maybe even that they could be a later inspiration for something that comes new again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very nice to hear. Do you still work for cause, or was there ever an experience of being copied by them? Did I? Yeah, what's the right? Okay, so
we don't work for cause. I never worked for them. Ricarda worked for them. And we have not been copied by them. That one not very good. We're currently not working for any other labels as such, but we're always open for collaborations. So.
Yeah. That brings me actually to my last question. Yeah. That fits perfectly, basically, to what you just said. Are there collaborations outside the jewelry world you actually dream of?
Yeah, I mean, we started working with tableware last year, which was really exciting. We did a collaboration with Kai Kititsi, who's like an amazing food artist, and the food scene at the moment is also super flourishing and really exciting. And food just becomes this artwork and also brings really people and community together. And for us, making tableware was really exciting in a way as well, because it's still very body related and it's still objects you use like inside your body, and it's this combination of objects to decorate, but actually you're feeding your body with it, and it's like really sensual. You have a spoon in your mouth, and so for us, it was really nice to work with tools like that. And so I would actually love to work a lot more in tableware and interior. Would be exciting to expand on that as well. Yeah.
And is anything planned out of this project?
Currently not, but yeah.
Because I also saw that when I went to your homepage. I found it very exciting, actually. To have that combination of also those, of course, different materials, but also something so central like food.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, Sari, thank you very much.
Thank you very
For
much.
this wonderful first design dialogue talk. And we are happy to have you here again in the future. Yeah. And I would say thank you very much also to our audience, that has been with us. So, and I wish you all the best, and of course also your partner, Ricarda, for the future. So, thank you,
Thank
and
you.
have all a good evening.